and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes from the November 11th, 2025 regular board meeting?
I make a motion we approve minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Can I get a approval of vouchers 43470 to 43686 as presented?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Comments from patrons. Those wishing to address the board pertaining to items on this agenda should do so at the podium to be heard adequately. Old business, the monthly financial report.
Yes, you do have the document on the table in front of you for our monthly financial report. The monthly fund revenues for the education fund were $1,412,889.40. The operation revenues were $377,508.69. The debt was $9,540.40, and there was no revenue in the rainy day fund. Our monthly fund expenditures in the education was $1,451,915.76. Our operation expenditures were $612,670.22. We had no debt expenditures or rainy day expenditures. Currently, our teachers' salary as a percentage of the state tuition is at 63.37%. Our education to operations transfer percentage is 12.93%. And this past month, we had $29,954.77 in curricular material expenditures. Any questions over anything in the finances?
Can I get a motion to approve the monthly financial report as presented? Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Second item under financial is we did get our 1782 notice from the DLGF this past week. We were approved for essentially everything that we asked for in our budget. So we're glad of that. Put a copy of it, I think, in your board packet for you to take a look at. There is one small discrepancy that we've contacted the DLGF. We think that they transposed three numbers. Is it $670 or something like that?
$270. It's minor.
A very minor, but I think it looks like they just transposed some numbers. We contacted them, they'll get back with us. But essentially, our budget was approved as we presented it to them, which is a good thing. Any questions about that? Okay, and then the other item under financials is in your board packet. You have the tag procedure that we will use to distribute the monies to our teachers. We have about $71,000 that we will be distributing. I think put in your board packet the exact amount. It's actually $71,658.61. According to our plan, that will be distributed to 20 teachers. There'll be 9 at the elementary, 5 at the junior high, and 6 at the high school. We divided it up by the ADM counts of each building to try to be fair. In that, there will be committees that will accept applications, and you have a copy of that application to any teacher that feels like they should qualify for that grant monies. We can't give every teacher those monies, only 20, so that the committee will determine who those 20 teachers will be. The committee will be made up of the building principals, the elementary team leaders, the junior high department chairs, and the high school department chairs. And each building will look at applications from other buildings, so they will not be judging the applications within their own buildings. A lot of different ways the corporations are doing this. I did run it by the GTA. They understand the process. It's probably as good as what anybody else is doing. It's not what we prefer to do, but it is the law that we have to follow. We cannot give partial stipends. They have to be full stipends, so that's why we're giving $3,500 so that we can give the most stipends to the most teachers. So I will, on board approval of that tonight, I will contact the DOE and provide them with our plan, and I'm pretty sure that that plan is going to pass almost every plan that's been presented. Their main thing is, in judging what teachers get, the grant monies, the stipend, you have to really look at teachers that can provide evidence that students in their classes, that they've improved on some academic area. Primarily, it's easy to look at things like I read pass rates. It's easy to look at I learn data, maybe SATs, those types of things. But you can also provide other evidence at the teacher level of how students have improved in that year of instruction that they had last year. So, any questions on that? I know it's probably clear as mud, but it's best we can do with it. I would tell you, my understanding is this is not going to be the way it's going to be next year. So I can't swear to that, of course, but I know the new director of K-12 education, who happens to be from down the road, is not in favor of this continuing in the format it is. So I think that will carry some weight in getting some type of revision. Only thing you never know now is it may be worse. So you never can tell what the legislators are going to do with this. But I think as soon as they did it, they realized it's not necessarily a good thing. So we'll make the best out of a bad thing, and we'll use our $71,000 for those 20 teachers. Okay? That's all I have in the finances. But I would ask the board to approve the TAG grant guidelines as they've been provided to you in your board packet.
Can I get a motion to approve the GPS guidelines for the distribution of the TAG monies as stipends to certified staff? Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Next thing on the agenda is the old policies, which we've had out there for 2 months. Again, those have been shared with the teachers, with the administrators in the district, and with you over the last month. Unless you have any questions, I would ask the board to approve those policy revisions and replacements, and also rescind the policies that are listed as are found in your board packet.
Can I get a motion to approve the revised policies, the rescinded policies, and the replacement policies as presented?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? New business.
I do want to just get some information from the board as far as you do want to have a board retreat again this year. I would take it. Is the board in favor of that? Okay, I need some dates, and probably if we're going to have it and be productive, it probably needs to be in January, February at the latest. And that would require a Saturday. I just don't think probably we could just hold a board meeting and do it if we're going to do it for a couple hours. But really, I think for us to do what we need to do in that retreat, we pretty much need a whole day, because I think the presentations from the buildings are very important. I did outline some things that I could see as being important for us to look at. I also want you to know that is not the agenda. That is the beginning of an agenda. Some things can be dropped, other things can be added. I want you to take a look at the agenda as I presented it to you. And if you have items that you think that we also need to discuss, or if there's things on there you just don't think we really need to address, bring those back to me, and I will plan something over the next few weeks here. I'd like to have, at least get the agenda together by the end of December, so that when we come back in January, we can set a date for the board retreat. Is that okay with everybody's schedule to do it in that manner?
Yeah.
It's helpful for me if we get a little, I know last year was kind of a short notice before we actually selected the date, and so I can schedule my Saturday. It's
We can select the date now if you guys are able to do that. I'm fine with that. And then just provide anything that you see needs to be added to the agenda or taken away from the agenda. But I always feel like it's best to have a starting point. There's one Saturday there, January the 17th is the Hall of Fame ceremony at the high school, so that may not be a good
Can't do
day.
it then anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Can we go into February? I mean, is that possible? Is that better for you, John? The further away, the better?
As long as maybe middle of January on would be fine. As long as I have a little notice, I can always make arrangements, so.
How about the 14th of
No.
No,
You won't be here.
Valentine's Day.
I'll be back.
Valentine's Day.
21st,
February? That's fine with me.
is that too late for anybody? Is that, no, it's really not too late. Would that work for everybody?
It's fine.
As far as I know.
February
Well, maybe,
21st?
But we'll be done by then, so.
We had a basketball game, South Ripley home that day. That's the only thing that's on that day, so, and that's an evening game, so. So you want to put the retreat, February 21st,
It's fine.
and take the info that I gave you as far as the agenda, take a look at it, and just email me back any changes that you see that need to be made, any additions, any information that you'd like to talk about specifically, and I will put it in the agenda. Kind of plan on, I think it'll probably go from like 8 to 2 or 3. We usually go a little bit faster than the time frame that I have on there. It's kind of an all-day thing. We'll have some breakfast here for you when you get here, and we'll break for lunch, and maybe have even a working lunch to get through the lunch hour. Any questions about the retreat? So, February 21st.
That'll work for your admin. I don't agree with everyone here, but
I'm mainly concerned about you guys being here. If they can't be here, then they'll have one of their admin. That's why they got 3 of them in the building. Hopefully, they can all be here, but quite honestly, it's hard enough to plan around 7 people rather than 11. Gets to be a little bit difficult, so. Okay, next item is I just wanted to let you know that we have to provide to the Department of Education all of our IEPs for our district, and every one of our IEPs met all compliance requirements from the IDOE, and that's quite a feat, because even our co-op that we belong to, they didn't even meet all the compliance requirements. So, I just want to give a shout out to Connie and all of our special ed teachers. I said Connie, I meant Inga. Shout out to Inga and all of our special ed teachers for a great job, because that's, with all the changes that they've made in the IEP formats and all, that is quite a feat for them to accomplish. Next item on your agenda is a request to change junior high student handbook on attendance, and primarily that deals with students that are absent and then wanting to come back and be involved in extracurriculars. And it wasn't clearly stated in the handbook what our policy was on that, and we've had a couple of situations arise, so we want to make sure that it is very clear in the handbook that if you're not there for the second half of the day, you cannot participate in extracurriculars, and you cannot come in at 2 o'clock and play in the sporting event or whatever it might be that night unless there's some real extenuating circumstance. There's always those things that we have to look at, but primarily if you're not there half a day, you cannot participate in any type of extracurricular. Any questions on that?
Can it be either half of the day?
No, they gotta be
It
there.
doesn't
the second
specify,
half.
does it, or
It
does
doesn't
it?
say, it just says a
It says
minimum of
half
half
a
a
day.
day. And you
I-
said it like it had to be the second half.
I think it should be the second half of the day. I will get that changed. I think it needs to be the second half of the day.
Okay.
You don't get to come in and go home and take a nap and come back. And the purpose is not being at school is, there's a reason. If there's a legitimate reason, like a doctor's appointment or something like that, it's excused anyway. It's primarily we're dealing with sickness. So,
That might need to be.
Clarified.
what are your feelings on it? You think it should just be half a day?
I mean, if we're only talking about illness, it doesn't make sense, if they go home sick and they come back to play in a basketball game or whatever, but, I mean, if they have a doctor's excuse, but they would have a note for that, or some extenuating circumstance, but if you
Should we
probably
just
just,
leave it? Maybe, Matt's usually here, maybe they wanted it vague as far as what that half a day was. Knowing Matt, he probably did, but I just assumed the half a day was, but they'd be there the second half of the day. No, I got that. Where do you want to go with? You want to leave the policy as he has it written?
I tend to leave it like that. There'd be very limited circumstances where they'd be gone the second half anyway.
I don't think it's a major problem to begin with. I think what you run into is you run into a few students that try to take advantage of it, and it's a limited number of kids. Most parents, if your kid's sick, they're not gonna come home. They're not gonna come to school and play in an athletic event that night. But, being school, so. I will ask for it to be approved as Matt has it presented in your board packet.
I get a motion for approval, of the updated DJHS student handbook on attendance. Can I get a second? All in favor? Opposed?
Tammy, you want to give an update on the reading adoption process?
Our teachers, and Heather's here, I see, our teachers, K-8, have been giving a lot of time and attention to detail and trying to make the right decision and what's the best resource for them as teachers, but most importantly for the students. We've narrowed it down to the top 2 at both buildings. Our teachers want to have the opportunity to teach out of each of those samples before we come to you with a formal recommendation. And so we are giving parents, you'll get a notice from each school in Parent Square that if any parent wants to review the top 2 options, they'll be in the office area at each school, and they'll have until January, the end of January, to review those. And if there's any concerns or whatever, if there's a form that they can contact me directly to state what their concern would be. I don't believe they would ever made the state's approved list if there was anything, but parents have the right to see all curricular materials, so we just wanted to give plenty of time with the holiday season to the end of January for parents to have a chance to look at those. And then we'll come to you in the February board meeting with a recommendation. And then our plan is to move forward with that recommendation for your approval. Get those things ordered before we leave for spring break, so materials can be in the building before we leave for summer break, and professional development can happen for the teachers over next summer. So we are right on target, and it truly is because of the reading adoption committee members and their professionalism that they have given it to state standard alignment and looking at with their lens, what's going to serve our population the best. So thank you to them, thank you to the administration, and that's where we are. So if you want to see those books, you can go to either the elementary or the junior high and see their top 2 selections.
The next item, excuse me, is approval of the emergency roof repair at the elementary school. I asked Tim to come here and talk to you about that. We put pictures in your packet of the damage that we have right now. It is a situation that needs to be addressed right away. Tim?
We've actually had some leaks in the building, they've been getting worse, so we contacted a roofing company out of Indy, the ones that did our roof here. They brought a thermal imaging machine down. And the pictures that you have in front of you are pictures that we actually found the shingles cracked in half. If you look at our elementary school up front, half of the building is so long, it's a pretty tall building out there. There's just, it just moves, the roof moves on it. That's the way it's designed. So most of these things are in the valleys where the leaks are happening. The shingles are cracked. There's some pictures in there, I think on page 2, the third picture there, it's kind of a dark spot. There's no granulars on those shingles, that's just the fiber material itself. The shingle, the gravel's gone off of them. Around the building, the metal is leaking, so that's all gonna come off and be redone. As you can see from some of those, the shingles are just cracked. There's gonna be a lot of shingle replacement. One of the ridge caps is off center on one section. And water's blowing in underneath there, but we haven't been on this roof. I know I haven't been on this roof for some time. The other roofs we walk, this one here we just don't walk very often. We think it'd be okay, but after we walked this with them and they were showing us this, there was a lot of cracks on our roof we're gonna try to get repaired. So the whole roof doesn't have to be replaced, just certain sections of it. It's basically in the valleys and on the large part of the building.
And we think with the repairs that we're gonna have, it's gonna probably get us somewhere around 10 more years with that roof.
And then the plan will be every year we'll walk the roof just to verify that we don't have any more cracks coming. But because that roof is so large, there's really, you could put metal on it, but it'd be awful expensive. But yeah, it's just not real good. I've been here 17 years, and that's the third roof, and it seems like that's all we do is shingle that building. So that's where we're at with that. And the company we brought in, they do a very good job. I mean, they were on the roof for, I think, 10 hours that day with an infrared gun looking for water leaks. So they found a lot of them, so hopefully that these will take care of a lot of those leaks where they're cracked.
So when will they start the work?
It was supposed to start last week, but the weather kind of, as soon as they get about 3 or 4 days, they're gonna come start.
So I'd ask the board for approval for that project to take place. It's a $58,000 plus project.
Can I get a motion for the approval of the emergency roof repair at GES?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, the next item here, I'm gonna put another item with the review of the teacher evaluation document. We're also gonna have over the next few weeks here, a review of the new school calendars for 27, 28, and 28, 29, believe it or not. Next year's calendar's set, but we always do a year, 2 years out from the calendar that we're going to be going into the next year. So we'll be looking at a 27, 28 calendar, and 28, 29 calendar. You will have copies of what our proposals are. We'll talk to the teachers and put to them on what they would see as adequate calendars. To be quite honest, when you get to 185 days, there's really just not a lot of variance you can have in the calendars. If you want to have 2 weeks of spring break, and you want to have a week of fall break, and you want to have 2 weeks of Christmas and so forth, the days become very limited. So that's kind of where we are, but we will, in the course of the next few months, put out 27, 28, and 28, 29 calendars. So that's just for your information. The other thing is, the state did change the entire teacher evaluation process, in that they make it now totally under our control. We don't have to present our evaluation process or anything even to the state. It's all local control of that process now. The only thing that's required is that every certified employee must be evaluated once every year. How you do that is totally up to the local control now. And what type of instrument you use and whatever. I put some information in your packet for you to take a look at. Again, that's a beginning. That is not the proposal for the new evaluation instrument. It's just give you an idea of what we're looking at compared to the process we're doing now. The process we're doing now, it just takes up so much time on the part of our administrators and on the part of really the teachers. And we spend a lot of time with teachers that we don't necessarily need to be spending the time with, and have less time to spend with teachers that may need a little bit more help with instruction. So you'll get in the next few months here what will be our proposal for a new evaluation instrument for Greensburg schools, but just kind of setting the seed tonight to let you know that that will be coming. Any questions on that? We do not have to even talk to our teachers about that evaluation instrument that we'll be using. We will have that conversation. We need input from them and make sure that everybody's on the same page with it. So we feel like we get great information from our teachers when we sit down and have those talks. And we will make sure we're all on the same page.
I noticed that you were moving away from the highly effective
Yes.
category, was just the first thing that jumped out at me, and I feel like in the past, and maybe those things don't apply anymore, but you use those for some things. Can't recall, it might have been like the tag in the past.
It was, tag
has
was,
changed, so, I don't know, maybe talk to that a little bit, like why we're going away from the effective and highly effective.
Well, one of the things is probably the most contentious thing with our staff, for sure. And the difference comes down to tenths of a point on our scale on whether you're highly effective or you're effective. And that difference between the top of the effective and the bottom of the highly effective, it's really the toughest part to come up with, I think. I think our principals would agree. So it's one of those things, I've gone from the time I became superintendent 25 years ago, that I want to make a promise to all of our community that we were going to put an effective teacher in every classroom. And I think we have put an effective teacher in every classroom. Sometimes the difference between highly effective and effective is one where some teachers, they can be an effective teacher, but they're never going to reach a highly effective level. They just don't have the tools, or they don't have the personality, or they don't have whatever it takes to get to that next level. That doesn't mean they're not valued by our corporation, they're not valued in that building, and I just don't know that distinction between effective and highly effective causes a little bit of rift with teachers, that it's worth the distinction. You know, we want to make sure that we have an effective teacher in every classroom. And we've come a long way in making that happen, because I can tell you that's not always been the case. And now if that does happen where we don't have an effective teacher, they're not going to last in the classroom. And whatever method we use in the new evaluation, it's going to be able to distinguish is a teacher doing a good job in the classroom or not. So that's kind of my perspective on it. Tammy, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I would say every teacher pours so much into getting their lesson plans ready. If they know that the principal's coming in, or if it's just an unannounced one, then the documentation afterward. And the principals, after observing, they were spending so much time with high flyer teachers that are doing what they need to do. It didn't leave enough time for those teachers that are doing okay, but could be better if they had more time. This will give the administrators time to be instructional leaders and coach those teachers that can be better. So by taking that highly effective and just pushing effective together, that gives more time and more attention to those teachers that truly need those extra supports for our students. That was the thought process behind that. We're not sold on the wording either, because the state, with the iLearn, uses approaching and proficient and things like that. So we're looking at some different things like that, but you can see they implemented and required us to do RISE evaluation, and now they've completely shifted and taken that away. So we don't want to have it so aligned to the state that it'll be dated. But it really is truly meant to let good teachers continue doing what they're doing without that burden and stress of having people come in and are they a 3.4 or 3.5, because that is literally the difference between effective and highly effective. And it will also truly allow for more time for our instructional coaches and our administrators to give support to the teachers that could benefit from that.
Mike, do you have anything you'd like to add? Heather, do you want to say anything from the union standpoint?
I don't have anything to say.
We just want to do, we want to do what's right for our teachers. We want to make sure that we do evaluate and make sure that they are doing what they need to do in the classroom. But, you know, we want to be able to have more time to help maybe teachers that need a little bit more help. Again, you're not voting on anything tonight, just getting you in the mindset. If you have ideas, share those with me, share them with Tammy, share them with the building principal, if it's in particular in a building. And when we do start putting everything together, we'll look at all of those things. Okay, that's all I have. Under superintendent's report.
Donations to the corporation.
Yes, we do have some, $2,500 from the Rushville Eagles to the Greensburg Community Schools Virtual School. And Jennifer has probably already spent that money, but that will go just to help in different situations with the kids who are part of our virtual school. Also, $213 from Michaela Farms to the junior high career class. $1,591 from Knopf Insulation to Greensburg Community Schools to use as we choose. And then we have $309.45 from the Knights of St. John to the special ed teachers at Greensburg Elementary. $839.80 from the Knights of St. John to the special ed teachers at Greensburg Junior High, and $839.80 to the high school special ed teachers from the Knights of St. John. And we thank all of those different entities for their support at Greensburg schools. Always amazed every month the thousands of dollars that the community gives to our schools to use for various reasons. We are very, very appreciative of that.
Can I get a motion to approve the donations?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Hunter, was the Rushville Eagles donation unsolicited?
Yeah.
Interesting.
As many of you may not know, Jennifer actually wanted to be a board member at Rushville beginning in January. So she's been very active in the city of Rushville, even though she worked at North Decatur. She's just an amazing person. She's made that program. Right now we have about 64 kids. She thinks we may be pushing 70 second semester. So I told her I don't know where we're going to be, but one of the things is we would cut it off at 100 for second semester. But we have 16 seniors. They are all currently on track for graduation. So, out of the 64 that she has right now, I think that's what she told me, there are 2 kids that might be struggling with attendance. That's pretty amazing. Out of 64 kids that are virtual, and only 2 that are struggling with attendance. And she thinks both of them and still make it, so. They put a lot of time individually with the kids in the virtual school, so. Thank her for all she does, and thank those entities for their donations.
Resignations, retirements, and leaves of absence.
Yeah, we do have a few. Lisa Freeman is resigning from the elementary teaching position on 12/19. Whitney Bredewater is also resigning from the elementary teaching position on 12/19. Judy Wellwich is retiring at the end of this school year. Annette Ebby is retiring at the end of this school year, both of them from our elementary school. Brooke Hughes is retiring from the junior high at the end of this school year. Faith Muncie has resigned from a corporation bus driver position. Kate Schwartz has requested a leave of absence. Jenny Powers has resigned from high school teaching assistant position. And Whitney Keller has resigned from a junior high teaching assistant position.
Can I get a motion to approve the resignations, retirements, and leaves of absence?
So moved.
Can I get a
I'll
second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Is that, Steve, was that you that seconded?
I did.
John did. Appointments.
Yes, we do have a few. Sandy Einhaus will be moving from an interventionist position to a teaching position to replace a leave from 11/24 to 12/19. Jessica Gauk is going to be a high school lifeguard. Spencer Paddock is going to be a high school volunteer wrestling coach. Morgan Steinecker is going to be an elementary special ed sub teacher. Tyler Dwinger, junior high head cross country coach. Sarah Cook, temporary teacher at the elementary, filling in for a leave. Ella Tungate, temporary art teacher at the elementary for the remainder of the school year. She'll be subbing in that capacity until the end of the school year. I'd ask the board approve those positions.
Can I get a motion to approve the appointments?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Other. Communication from board members. Next regular meeting will be on Tuesday, January 13th, at 6 p.m.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Thanks.
Can I get a motion to close the meeting?
I move we adjourn.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?